Hey everyone, for this week's video we have a really interesting fight of my MiG-19 versus a F-5 on the Cold War server. It starts out with me flying a 10K looking for Tomcats when an F-5 comes up after me. This then turned into a nearly 10-minute long 1v1 where we really went back and forth. I think this fight offered some interesting lessons, so I wanted to share a candid reaction of it because I thought this was one of the better fights that I've had in actually a long time. If this is your first time here, this channel focuses on multiplayer sim gameplay, so if you're into that, please subscribe. So we start off things with an F5 or something pinging me, and I see the contrail climbing after me, and I immediately drop my fuel pods, and I'm going to turn into it. Now, from the direction he's coming from, I should have assumed he came from a road base, but I thought that maybe he came from Sochi for whatever reason, so this whole fight I assumed he had P5s. And I am lower than him. And what I'm trying to do here is try not to shoot past him. And I make a pretty... I'm going to make a pretty big mistake here, which I haven't done yet, but basically I'm trying not to shoot out past him, and you can see me using the vertical here, and you know we're going to be talking a lot about this in this video, and that's what the Mig-19 does. But this really big mistake is about to come up because I'm definitely in the dominant position now, and I'm just trying to get my nose up on the target, and the problem here is I'm chasing his nose and not chasing his tail, and what I mean by that is right here is where I make a really big mistake, because I thought about going for a really high deflection shot, which is my really bad habit of doing in the MiG-19, and now things have changed where I am now about to shoot past him, and now I'm not in a really good spot anymore. And this is probably just my habit of flying German World War II planes a lot in IL-2, where I go for a lot of high deflection shots. Like, you can't really do that in the MiG-19. So I kind of rushed this, and now I'm in a bad spot. And he's on me, and what I'm going to try to do here is just try to basically just out flat turn him at high speeds and to try to work the circle against him. So it's not working now, or yet. I'm trying to add a little bit of vertical in here to try to run him down, or to slow him down rather. And we're going to slowly see this unwind. And if we look at the TAC view, we can see that this is starting to work. We see that the turn radius, or TRD, is starting to really look like it's going in my favor. So, and you can also see that before he was clearly on me, but now we're on two opposite ends of the circle, and with the turn radius of how it is, I'm like really starting to slip in past him. So let's see what the what this F5 does. So that the growling from the Sidewinder there, that's just because I was passing over the sun. See, I'm getting quite close. I still have pretty good speed, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. And basically what I'm thinking about this is just a little bit more time, and I'm going to slip in past him because we've done maybe, what, 5 circles already. And this is where he realizes he's losing the fight, so he does a split S. Now what I don't do is repeat the same mistake that I did before, basically chasing his nose, and I go up high. And again, now I'm like, I started the fight off in the dominant position, made a mistake because I was chasing his nose, and then I had to spend all that time just to dig myself out of that hole. And now my plan is to kind of just try to push him down as much as possible. And he looks quite slow, so I'm still feeling pretty good about this. We see in the TAC view, we have about 3K distance between us, and I'm starting to do more loops to try to slow him down. So this might have been a mistake, this initial flat turn, and then I corrected by going vertical, because he was diving down, he probably had a lot of speed, so he probably would have had a really good instantaneous turning radius there, so I kind of corrected my mistake there instead of trying to flat turn. And we see he's climbing up to me, but I think right now at this point that I'm safe, because he climbed up into me, and I'm going to assume that he used up a lot of speed to do that. And we see here that, yes, like he actually is quite slow, and I'm going to start like looping now to try to really slow him down. Okay, so this is a pretty good position to be in. Now we've done like 2 loops, and my nose is really coming up on him, and I make a mistake here by trying to go for the deflection. Again, I probably should have just like been a little bit more patient. And now this is a really important part. I'm trying not to shoot out past him, so you can see that basically I'm basically maneuvering just to stay past him, and he's almost trying to slow himself down as much as possible. So I'm like almost like I'm scissoring, and he's trying to go vertical, and he almost gets a shot here. So all that vertical movement, he actually does slow himself down here. And I get some hits, which is great.
Admin 11, merged, 153, 2600, Tiger 2.
So I heard that Overlord call, and this kind of scared me. So what I'm scared about is getting third partied here. I hit him with cannons. Unfortunately, they weren't enough to immediately explode him, and I was only using 1 cannon. And it's interesting because I heard the other Overlord call and I hit him. What I was thinking was that he was going to be damaged enough where I could get away with it, and it turns out he fires at me. I shot out past him. I've actually undone all the work that I've previously done, and I would maybe say that I was like planning too much for the future, where I was trying to kind of ditch this target and get ready for the next one coming up. So now basically we're back at the earlier part of the fight where I'm trying to use my high speed to try to outturn him. And then what we see here is that because he dove down, he actually has a decent amount of speed, and you can see that the turn radius here is that he is outturning me, and it's basically not working. And I can sense that. I mean, I don't have tact view at this moment, but I could sense that the positions of the circle aren't really changing, and I need to change something up. And now I've been hit, so basically I'm in trouble. And the thinking here is to start using vertical. Now the good thing is with the vertical with these loops is that eventually I will run him ragged and slow him down. The issue is that he is so close, and with his instantaneous turn radius and his little nifty gyro that he has to help his aim, like it's actually a little bit dangerous to do that. And we're gonna see that happen here, where I decide, okay, like I need to do something different. I need to change this up. I actually put my flares on and really start to turn, and he snipes me. So it was Minivan who was a good pilot. So there's no shame in dying here, and that was an interesting fight. I think the takeaway here, and we've covered this a lot on this channel, and especially with the videos when I write commentators, is the Mig-19 is not great at chasing other people's noses. You just don't have the nose authority, so you have to be a little bit more patient. This fight went the distance, and it was actually a really interesting one. I would say that if I could go back and do this again, I would probably avoid the situations where I was trying to get nose on so hard, which is a classic mistake that I always make, especially when I play a lot of IL-2 and then come back to DCS. And the other thing too is I guess I do this a lot when I play games. I try to big brain it too much, and I try to think too many steps ahead. When that other Overlord call came, especially after I just hit him, I thought that I needed to stop focusing on this guy and get ready for the next guy coming up. And it turns out that there was no one really close by, and I was kind of prioritizing wrong. So just something to keep in mind. I hope you guys found this video interesting. I actually had a lot of fun in this fight, and I wanted to share. So if you did, please consider subscribing, and I hope you guys have a good one. Thank you.
You